Switch on the top. Yeah. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? There we go. How's everybody doing, Cougs? You ready for tonight's debate? A little bit? Okay. Some people are. But thank you for coming out here tonight to the final ASWSU presidential, vice presidential debate of the season. As a reminder, elections are going to be March 11th and March 12th, and they open March 11th at 8 a.m. and close March 12th at 8 p.m. So be sure to get out there and vote. But we want to thank you for being out here tonight. This is huge for us as an organization, and it really does make a difference when you have your votes out here. And there are some serious referendums that are going to be on the ballot. So we encourage you to get knowledgeable about those, as well as just be checking out our candidates this evening. And if you have further questions after the debate, be sure to check out both of their websites that they have on their Facebook page, and then also on their social media outlets like Twitter and other areas. But before we move too much farther, I'd like to introduce tonight's moderator, Ben Wyman.
Hi guys, how's everyone doing? Good. Welcome to the 2014 ASWSU President and Vice Presidential Debate. I'm really excited to be here. My name is Ben Wyman. I'm a sophomore broadcasting major from Woodinville, Washington, and I'll be your moderator this evening. On behalf of the election board, I want to wish both of you guys, both tickets, the best of luck. Before we begin with these guys, we're going to talk about the Senate seats. And so I would like to, if the senators that are representing the colleges, if you guys can come up here when I say your college, briefly introduce yourself, and then we'll get rolling. So we'll start off with the Senate at-large seats. So the at-large senators could come on up. Give them a hand. You can give them a hand.
Hi, everybody. My name is Dakota Renz, and I'm running for ASWSU All-Campus Senator.
Hello, my name is Hector Zarita, and I'm also running for All-Campus Senator.
My name is Trinidad Chavez, and I'm also running for All-Campus Senator.
Thank you, guys. The next seats are the undeclared Senate seats. Do we have any undeclared senators? Come on up.
Hello, my name is Connor Wolcott, and I am running for one of the undeclared seats.
Hello, my name is Aurelio Guevara, and I'm also running for the undeclared seat.
Greetings to all. My name is Mark Anthony Figueroa, and I'm also running for one of the undeclared Senate seats.
Thank you, guys. The next seats are the College of Agriculture. College of Agriculture senators. Yes? No? Okay, moving on. The College of Business. Come on up.
Hi, everyone. My name is Osvaldo Benitez, and I'm running for the College of Business seat. Thank you.
I hope you all are doing good tonight. I'm Michael Rotalik, and I'm also running for the College of Business seat.
Thank you, guys. And finally, the College of Engineering and Architecture. Come on up.
Hello, everyone. My name is Esteban Mena. I'm running for the seat of College of Architecture and Engineering.
Thank you. Give one more round of applause for all of our senators. Thank you guys for running. Good luck. Now, to introduce you guys to the people that you actually came here to see. Winners of candidates for tonight's debate. The candidates closest to me are the ticket of Marissa Hice and Sean Santomassimo. You guys have an opening statement?
Oh, do we go now?
Yes.
I thought you were going to introduce
Go
me.
right ahead.
It's all good.
Awesome.
It's all good. Hi, everyone. Welcome. My name is Marissa Hice, and I'm running for ASWSU President. Before we get started, I want to introduce you to my running mate. This is Sean Santomassimo. If you don't know how to say his last name, it has awesome right in the middle of it. He is a junior, first-generation college student from Spanaway, Washington. He's studying political science with a global interest, and he wants to go into the Department of Defense one day. And he's currently representing the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, and on the Senate. And he's currently an active member of Tau Kappa Epsilon. And this is his 3rd year at ASWSU.
And I'd like to thank all of you guys for coming out and taking the time to meet both presidential and vice presidential tickets. I'll take the time to introduce my running mate, Marissa Hice. Marissa Hice is a first-generation college student, junior from Gig Harbor, Washington. She studies social studies and secondary education with a minor in political science in hopes of one day becoming a high school teacher. Marissa currently serves as the director of campus outreach for ASWSU, and this is her 2nd year of being in a director position, and her 3rd year of involvement overall. Fun fact about Marissa, if Marissa and myself were to win ASWSU president and vice president, Marissa would be the first female president in over a decade.
Thank you, guys.
So, we're not done. We're almost done.
You done?
Sean and I are really excited for a couple different programs. We're really into academic affairs, and we're also really into the career community. And as far as academic affairs is concerned, we're really interested in researching more about the retention rates of minority students because it's some of the lowest retention rates on campus. And we're really interested in figuring out not only why that's happening, but how we can help it. And secondly, for the Cougar community, we are bringing back what's called Cougar Pride Days. And what that is it's basically a week devoted to getting people excited about being at WSU, being Cougs, and really teaching the freshmen what it means to be a Coug and what it means to be a part of this awesome community that is WSU.
Passion prescribes purpose, and Marissa and myself see value in emphasizing such as we seek to advocate for all students in the WSU community by providing a community of Cougs helping Cougs, recognizing student success inside and outside of the classroom, and providing an inclusive environment for students of all cultural groups and personal interests while striving for a rich and diverse student experience.
And Sean and I know that our jobs are more than just programming, it's advocacy. And that's the one thing that we're committed to above all else, is a conversation with you guys to understand you and figure out what it is that you guys want us to do. Because at the end of the day, we're not doing it for us, we're doing it for the Cougs. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Now to introduce you to the other ticket, the ticket of Jared Powell and Lakeisha Farmer.
All right, hi everyone, my name is Lakeisha Farmer. I hail from Spokane, Washington. I'm a junior here at WSU studying political science and philosophy. I just want to talk to you about my experience here. I've had the pleasure of serving students for the last 2 years on the ASWSU Senate. This year I was fortunate enough to be elected Senate Pro Tempore, which is kind of a fancy word for leader of the Senate. So I've also been serving for the students on different committees, and I've also been on the co-chair of the WSU First Annual Dance-a-thon, which is coming up this weekend, which I'm excited about. When it comes to WSU, I first joined the rugby team, and we went to nationals a couple years ago, and that's how WSU is one of my passions right now. I didn't always have the opportunity to pursue higher education. In my community, there wasn't a lot of opportunity to do that or even graduate high school. But WSU was there since my junior year of high school, making sure students like me come here. And that's why WSU is my passion. It's the reason why I love serving the community, because WSU has given so much to me. WSU is our passion, and Jared is probably one of the best people to really experience that. We have four platforms here that I'd like to talk to you about: diversity, pride, experience, and also dedication. Thank you. He's my right-hand man, and I want you to hear what Jared has to say.
Yeah, so my name is Jared Powell. I am currently a senior here at Washington State University, originally from Vancouver, Washington. Yeah, what's up, Vancouver? I'm double majoring in political science, pre-law, and philosophy. I'll be here for a 5th year, pursuing 2 bachelor's degrees. Yeah, when I came to WSU, I got involved right away. I joined my fraternity of Sigma Phi Epsilon. I'm a proud member, been involved in multiple roles within Sigma Phi Epsilon. I've been involved in ASWSU for the last 3 years. I started out my sophomore year as the Assistant Director of Academic Affairs. Last year, I was an ASWSU Senator representing the College of Arts and Sciences and also chair of the Finance Committee and the Budget Council. And this year, I am the Director of Finance for the executive staff. Lakeisha and I have both been involved in multiple aspects of the university, which really gives us top-notch experience for this role as ASWSU President and Vice President. We're actually both lucky enough to be 2 of the 4 appointed undergraduates at WSU to serve on the President Tuition Setting Committee, which helps come up with tuition policy and stuff like that for tuition for the following years. We helped in being instrumental in the 0 increase that happened this last year. I also currently serve on the Services and Activities Fees Committee. I'm a Student Legal Services intern. I was an orientation counselor this last summer, and I've worked for the Office of Admissions for the last 3 years as a career connector. WSU really is our passion. It's something that we care so deeply about, and that's why we really want to do this. I've absolutely loved every minute of my time here at Washington State University, and I really couldn't imagine what my life would be like without it. And we just really want to make sure that every student experiences that while they're here. We really want to make every student that comes to Washington State University, these are their best 4 or 5 years. We're committed to listening to students, and we're committed to going out and doing things that are going to help the student experience of every Washington State University student. And that's why we're here. We're so passionate about WSU, and we cannot wait to hopefully lead this university in this capacity. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. So now we're going to go over the debate format tonight. There's going to be 6 questions. We're going to start off with Sean and Marissa. They're going to have a 2 minutes to respond to the question. Jared and Lakeisha are going to have 2 minutes to respond to the question. 1 minute rebuttal, 1 minute rebuttal, and then we'll move on to the next question. Are there any questions from the candidates?
Absolutely not.
We ready to roll?
Absolutely.
Audience, you ready to roll? Oh, come on. We ready to roll? Yeah, there we go. So, to you guys, first question. Many students find themselves saying, "What is ASWSU?" How can you ensure that no students are asking this question during your administration?
When I think of that question, the first thing I think about is just all the different people that are involved in ASWSU, because ASWSU isn't just the executives or the Senate or even the J Board. ASWSU is all the students here in Pullman at Washington State University. And so ASWSU encompasses everything that they do. It's student life, it's going to class, it's paying for school. And so when I think of ASWSU, I not only think about stuff in the office or programs or meetings, I think about everything that has to do with the university.
Overall, me and Marissa plan on, redoing our website. I feel like is probably the biggest issue we have with ASWSU. Granted, our Senate and our executive team are doing a variety of things that students don't have accessibility or knowledge to, and so I feel like it kind of starts with that and that focal point. Next, me and Marissa, releasing meeting agendas is another big thing that Marissa and myself are looking into implementing within our website as well. If students won't attend meetings or aren't necessarily geared or engaged with what's going on at the university, if it's not necessarily applicable to them. So kind of creating that atmosphere for our students to understand what we're doing and getting them engaged in that regard. And really, kind of just looking at students that are very geared towards ASWSU. Being a member of the Associated Students of Washington State University has kind of taught me that you have to be able to come out of your comfort zone and be in roles like this to where you can understand the student body and create those conversations which are going to be conducive to providing an overall climate of student success.
Another thing that we want to do to get people involved is host what we call a clubs night, and it's basically a chance for students to get to know what it means to get involved, because getting involved is proven to increase retention rates.
Thank you, guys.
Great. So, really to me, ASWSU starts right at the beginning of the college experience. And so we want to just jump on it right away and start it at Alive. Taylor and Kevin did a great job this year really reaching out to students at the Alive orientation, and we want to continue off of that. We want to help outreach to every student that we possibly can during the Student Resource Fair, and we're committed to being, both of us ourselves, at every single Alive session this summer. One thing that we also want to do is hand out, basically a bucket list for students when they come here. Things that they can do while a student at WSU that's going to make their experience the best that it can possibly be. Whether that be attending a multicultural student service event or going to a football game. Just this list of things that really makes WSU what it is and is going to give our students the best experience that they can have here.
ASWSU is all about uniting the campus, and there are certain things that we can all do to make sure that our campus is united. So putting on events such as the first annual Dance-a-thon and making that a big event for all students, Greek, Residence Light, or students who are in organizations. Making sure you have events like that so that you know exactly what ASWSU is doing for the students.
Yeah, and Sean touched on it great. The website, the ASWSU website can be an awesome resource for students, and that's what we want to progress towards. We want to have these awesome things on our website that students can go there and like figure out how to do things. And there's already Zeus's tutorials up on there if you guys didn't know that, but we just want to keep building on top of that. We want to have our budgets up there so students can see that, have that transparency with all that ASWSU does. And I think a lot of that stems from also having a PR team. And that's something that's kind of started this year. We want to build off that, is having a general student organization PR team. So we can work together to get our message out there. And so all students are seeing what events were going on. Because there's a lot of great events that are put on by ASWSU committees that a lot of students aren't aware about. And that's really something we want to build on and make sure that doesn't happen anymore.
So when we think about ASWSU as a whole, we not only think about the new students, like Jared and Lakeisha talked about, we think about the students that are already here. And we feel as though to achieve a goal of complete unity of 20,000 people doesn't really seem very realistic. We want to appreciate those differences because people are involved in different things, they have different interests, different groups that they hang out with, but they all have something special about them. And so something that Sean and I want to do is really just emphasize the differences in those groups in a positive way, understand those differences and giving people the chance to understand each other.
You know, Marissa hit it right on the head there. You know, again, it's virtually impossible to create that type of cohesion between 20,000 different types of students, but really creating that climate of respect in which all student organizations are able to understand each other in terms of the prescriptions and beneficial, or the things they intend to prescribe that are beneficial to the university that altogether do create the Wazoo community.
Yeah, I understand why they say that it's not possible for 20,000 students to come together for something, but I would like to make sure that we can still unify the campus. I don't understand why that wouldn't be a possibility, because I think uniting the campus is a possibility for all of us to strive for. If we all put in our dedication and work to strive for something bigger than ourselves, then I'm sure that we can unite the campus.
And going back to the question at hand is how are we going to let students know what ASWSU is and what we have to offer? I still think starting at the Alive program, because I think if you went around, as you progress as a student, you kind of get to know these things more. But I think where we're really lacking is our freshman students knowing about these opportunities that they have to get more involved. And so that's really something we want to build on. If we're going back to the question and really thinking about how we're going to let students know what ASWSU is and what we do, I think starting from the very start of a student's experience as a Washington State University student is the most important thing, and that's what we want to do.
Thank you, guys. Next question. We'll start with Jared and Lakeisha. Students and families who decided to pursue education at an institution aside from WSU often cite WSU not being academically challenging or rigorous. How can we change that perception?
You know, our institution really is world-class face-to-face. We have amazing professors here. We have amazing programs. And so it's really about making sure students are aware of those programs and getting them engaged. So we have a lot of things on our platform to make sure that we have academic success, whether it's making sure that in our career fairs that it's more of a variety, or making sure that college education is affordable. We have a lot of things that we can do to make sure that that is possible.
Yeah, and one thing we really want to build on is you know, it really is a world-class education. 2 years ago, we were ranked in the top 25 of universities in the nation for where corporate recruiters could come to find qualified candidates. And so if we don't have, I don't necessarily agree with the question, if we don't have a challenging enough course load, then why are we in that top 25? But that we shouldn't stop there. Why not be number one? So let's move toward that point. And something we really want to do is start with those U-Core classes for students. That's a great way for our students to get experience in different classes outside of their academic field of study. But we want to find some unity in those and some uniformity within that U-Core process. You know, students taking Political Science 101, they shouldn't have a different syllabus by semester or by professor. We don't want the professors to really affect the difficulty of the class. We want all classes in that U-Core level to kind of be similar, use the same textbook, use the same syllabus, have similar assignments, and so there's not such a wide variety of students taking a U-Core class with one professor rather than another.
Very good. So overall, I mean, when we come back to this notion of, the quality of higher education, it really comes down to looking at, since ASWSU has been broken up into the spheres of colleges, when you have your College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, your communication colleges, those colleges and those institutions have individual budgets that go out and go about the hiring process of specific professors and teachers and whatnot. And so, I mean, that all comes back to, your alumni distribution and how much money they're filtering in through these colleges as alumni of these certain degrees, since, every major has a specific college that it's geared to. And so kind of going back to that notion and really going after these alumni and these individuals who can appropriate a lot of that funding so we can gain higher quality of teachers is huge in this regard.
That being said, something that's important is to highlight our strengths in our academic programs. So we have a strong comm college, we have strong engineering programs, we're a research institution that does groundbreaking research that not a lot of people hear about unless they go to the WSU website. And so that's something that, as ASWSU, that's our job, is to let people know what the students are doing, because it's the students that are doing this research and the students that are making this progress. And that's why this place is a place of learning and a place of world-class education, because of things like that. And if we let more people know about it, then maybe people wouldn't see us as, not so rigorous.
I think something that really drives quality education is affordability. Students need to be able to afford their education and have a place where they can go and get that. And so we really want to work on lobbying efforts in Olympia to make sure that we can keep providing this quality education for all students. We shouldn't price students out, and they shouldn't be worried constantly about if they're going to be able to afford the next semester. I have friends that I've talked to, and they're like, yeah, I don't know if I'll be back next semester. I don't know if I can afford that. And that's something we really don't want to continue. Our lobbying efforts in Olympia in the last year or two have been great, and we just want to build off that and really prepare our students going over for Coug Day and expand that program and have them going over and making an extremely meaningful impact in Olympia.
Something that is also about affordability is our textbooks. It's something that's simple. You get a textbook and then you go to the bookie at the end of the semester and they don't take your textbook. Well, making sure that is uniform, making sure that the bookie buyback program has a better program so that you can give your textbooks back and make sure that you have an affordable education when it comes to that.
And again, this kind of comes back to this whole notion of the colleges and what their prescriptions are in terms of providing that higher education. Lakeisha made a very, very good point, the textbook dump and the bookie buyback, and the bookie supplements of large funding. I mean, we have our own bookie dividend that ASWSU is allocated every single year. But really creating uniformity between our colleges and deciding what types of textbooks and coming back down to these U-Core classes is huge in terms of providing substantial cost for students in purchasing their textbooks. Once you pay for your tuition and whatnot, I mean, that's expensive all in itself, but, really creating that, setting a plan, essentially, and deciding what types of textbooks are going to be used for the next 2, 3 to 4 years, and then being able to reallocate those books amongst students so that way the cost is decreased in that regard.
And one other thing that will keep WSU world-class is constantly growing and learning from other schools, and that comes with our student governments, first and foremost, interacting with other schools. For example, the Pac-12 Leadership Conference is something that we started this year that we're hoping we get to host next year, so it's something that we're going to learn from other people. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Directed to Marissa and Sean. Next question. Residence halls are often left out of the ASWSU agenda. What would you do to strengthen the relationship between the RHA, which is the Residence Hall Association, and better advertise the resources and services that ASWSU has to offer residents of our residence halls?
Great question. So this year is my first year as the director of campus outreach, but last year I was the assistant director. And last year, being a member of the residence halls as an RA in the fall, I thought it was really important to reach out to the residence halls. And so what I started was kind of a liaison between RHA and ASWSU. So every week somebody is there at the RHA meetings telling them what we're doing, inviting them to our programs, and hearing how we can help them. And also, in addition to that, I had monthly meetings with the central staff of Residence Life to get to know what kind of the staffs are doing in the residence halls as well as what the governments are doing. And it was a really good opportunity to kind of open the window of communication between the two and really get to know kind of where that communication is lacking and where we can improve. And so going into the director position, I continued that relationship and improved on it a little bit more. And in hopes of continuing that communication in the future, that bonds will only get stronger, faces will still be familiar, and the conversations will keep going as far as how we can help each other.
And I truly resonate with this whole notion of, the residence halls aren't necessarily as engaged or active in the WSU community. Granted, I feel it is a large stepping stone in, the overall development of being a student at WSU. As being former president of Gannon Goldsworthy Residence Hall my freshman year, being involved in the homecoming aspect of things and just the overall collaboration of anything RHA or whatnot, that transparency isn't as noted. So, I mean, once you come down to it, it's all about outreach and, advocating for these students in the residence halls, hearing their causal stories and bringing that back to ASWSU and working in conjunction with one another.
Communication is great, and that's definitely the first step toward having that good relationship. But I think something that sets us apart is we want to have these events that really unites the student body. You can talk about advocacy and all that, and it's awesome, but having these events for students is going to really bring them together. And something we really want to do, next year marks the 100th anniversary of ASWSU, and that really means that's 100 years of student voice at our university. 100 years of student input into our administration, which is awesome. And that's something we want to celebrate. We want to have these programs for students. We have an idea for a Colorado Street Carnival to start off the year. We want to partner up with IFC Panhellenic and RHA for this event. And basically what we want to do is shut down Colorado Street, have a big fair, have rides, have a concert in Ruby Street Park to start off the year, maybe have some of the restaurants and local establishments that are on that strip of street to come out and sell food, have munchies out there selling hot dogs and stuff like that. We just want to have these events to really unite the campus.
Something else, as being in a residence hall, you're on campus constantly. It will be nice to have something on campus to bring everyone together. So we were thinking about the old bookie. The old bookie has been underutilized. Even President Floyd has mentioned how he wants something around students. So having something around students, whether it's fun and entertaining like laser tag, or whether it's something where it can have a center for example, for our new Student Sustainability Center, something like that brings students from residence halls onto campus will really impact the university.
Something exciting that Sean and I have been talking a lot about that we're really going to try this first semester is to have one meeting a semester for the ASWSU Senate in a residence hall so that students don't have to go out of their way to find out what it is we're doing or what it is we're talking about, because a lot of our stuff does pertain to them that they just don't really, they don't hear about it or they don't really know where to go to get that information. So coming to them with that information is going to help a lot when it comes to bridging the gaps of communication.
And Jared, I do disagree with this whole notion of, advocacy is everything and outreach is everything in terms of accumulating the knowledge of what's going to be conducive to providing a successful student body. And so, like Marissa said, actually physically going out and meeting these students in the residence halls, giving them the opportunity, similarly to our joint city council meeting that we just had a few weeks ago. Students were able to see all our social media and other areas to where, our joint city council was there. They could meet them, talk to them, and see what's actually going on in the city of Pullman. So why not take that outreach and extend that to our residence halls? It's all about extending a hand and, really listening and applying what you learn from those residence halls and these students in different areas. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm going off that communication aspect. I'm not saying that communication aspect isn't important. It's definitely important, but actions really speak louder than words. And if you're gonna have this collaboration, why not have events that are good for both sets of students, both Greek students, both residence hall students, students who live off campus? And I think that's really where we go a step further. Having that communication is great, and that's something we've really built on this year, and it's something that's really evolved. But having events that actually unify the community, I think, is going to be leaps and bounds better than just having meetings together.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like Jared said, communication is important, but going the step further and having specific things for our students, I think that's where we can make a distinction here. And so when we're talking about collaborating with RHA, SEB, Panhellenic, IFC, we have specific things that we want to do next year to engage all students.
Thank you, guys. This question is directed at you, Jared and Lakeisha. How will students be able to measure productivity during your administration?
Well, I think one thing as far as measuring productivity is having goals set out before, and that's something Lakeisha and I already have set out. Taylor and Kevin did an awesome thing this year in having a checklist, their first 100 days, their last 100 days. These things they want to accomplish and a clear path of how they're going to do that, and that's something we want to continue. We're going to post that on our website. We want students to see the jobs and the different projects that we want to accomplish while we're in office, and we're going to check those off as we go along, and we're going to make that known to them that they have seen productivity, and we're going to work with the Daily Evergreen to get coverage on these things and show how great they are and how they're supporting our students here at Washington State University.
Yeah, we definitely, on our platform, we have a proactive platform. We have specific things that we want to accomplish for the next year. And so going into the next year, we can already lay them out and make sure that we check them off from month to month, day to day, and make sure that students are aware of what we're doing.
Now, one thing that really sets our ticket apart is that if you look at our platform, we have these things laid out. We know what we want to accomplish, and we have the way we're going to do it. We know how we're going to go about it. We know the people we're going to talk to, and we have goals set forth. We have a very proactive campaign. We don't necessarily want to sit back and just wait for things to come to us. Lakeisha and I's experience in this university, we already know of issues out there that we can start tackling now, the minute we get into office. And that's something we want to do. We don't, like I said, we don't want to sit around and wait for ideas ideas from outside sources when we know some of the issues that are going on our campus.
I agree. Again, with this whole notion of being proactive versus reactive, I mean, that's definitely big in terms of providing for the student body. But, Marissa and myself definitely have a large list, if you guys were to check our website, of things that are already in the works in ASWSU as an organization, as well as things that are going to be potential or indicative to providing student success in the student experience. But, when I think of productivity, I think of accessibility. And a big part of accessibility is having open rep spots to everyone and really utilizing our Senate. Again, since our Senate has been broken up into colleges, we haven't been as effective in creating those working relationships with our deans of students and whatnot. And since every student is broken up into a college underneath a major, really focusing on our Senate and creating those strong relationships so we can apply those resources. Because again, if students aren't using our resources, then you're not able to gain success in your overall student experience as an individual group and as well as a Cougar community.
And another way that students are going to be able to measure our productivity is if they just come in and ask us. And I know that it takes a lot for somebody to just walk up to an office with people they don't know and just say, hey, what are you up to? But Sean and I want to implement an open door policy when we're in office, if we would. And we want to really just kind of listen to these students. And yes, we have a list of plans, and yes, we know how we're going to accomplish them. But we're also open to suggestions. And we're open to, if somebody doesn't like our idea or if somebody thinks that we should do it differently, then we'll listen to them and we'll change our minds. Because our platform is always going to be changing, but the fact that we're serving the students first and foremost won't be changing.
And again, not every program is, it's meant for every type of student or every variety of students. So this is why that important, listening to students and actually getting their feedback is important, because me and Marissa could come up with 500 different things that we'd like to implement in the university, but if it's something that's not geared to you, then what do you get out of it?
Yeah, one thing we really want to do is have an interactive portion on our website where students can come and give us feedback. The Dear WSU campaign, if you're familiar with it, that Taylor and Kevin implemented this year, we got a lot of great feedback on that. And student feedback is really important, but you can't only have student feedback. Lakeisha and I have that experience within the university to where we know of some of the issues already. And having that outside input is also great because some of those things you didn't think about maybe, an idea that you never even crossed your mind. So it's really important to have a mix of both, and I think that's something that we really have in our platform.
Right, and working on ASWSU Senate, Senate are the people who outreach the most. And when you measure productivity, you know that you're having an active campaign when senators are talking and engaging with students. And so making sure, having that relationship and making sure that the Senate is doing what we did this year, I think will be incredible.
So something that I also feel like you can measure productivity with isn't just bills or referendums, but it's actually putting those into action. And so there's a lot of bills out there that will say we're going to do something. Well, why don't we do it? Why don't we start now? And so a lot of these, okay, what was I trying to say? Yeah, so that's the one way that you can measure the productivity of the Senate. And also, Sean has a lot of plans for how to regulate the activity of the Senate to make sure that they're actually outreaching and that they're actually doing what they say that they're supposed to be doing. Because if students are in those positions, they're elected by students to represent them, and we want them to do their jobs.
And and again, I mean, any senator can attend any amount of outreach hours or do as much outreaching as we want, but if we're not gaining anything as a Senate to provide back to the student body, then that's not doing your job, and that's not productivity in that regard.
Thank you, guys. Marissa and Sean, this question is directed for you guys. Ethnic minorities often cite accessibility and affordability as reasons for not being able to attend a four-year university. What ideas do you have for promoting higher education amongst ethnic minorities?
This comes back, me and Marissa kind of reiterated at the beginning of this. retention rates increase with student involvement. And so allowing our students to know the different varieties of ways they can get involved is crucial in terms of providing a higher amount of retention rates over minority students. Students shouldn't feel deterred or feel like they don't have the capacity to go out and outreach and be engaged with the Cougar community because of skin color or any other difference of being, just a general individual, I guess. I mean, I won't say that exact way, but, and again, it's just really allowing our students to know and understand the different ways that they can get involved, and me and Marissa, as an administration, will be a part of that involvement and that growth and development as students seek to.
And one of the things that we want to do to showcase this involvement and really reach out to people is host what's called Clubs Night. And it's once a semester, syllabus week. Other schools do it. We've done a little bit of research and heard a lot of positive feedback about it. And it's basically like a big involvement fair, only we host, you have dinner, we have groups from all over campus. We would like to see Greek houses there just talking a little bit about what they're about, residence halls talking about the things that they do. And every single club that wants to be a part of this, that wants to get new people involved, to come out and tell people what they're about, because a lot of involvement opportunities are out there that a lot of people don't know about. And so by hosting an event like Clubs Night, people will get the chance to know about that. And like Sean said, involvement does improve retention rates. And so that's one of the main plans of attack that we have against the lacking retention among students.
One of the great things that our Multicultural Student Service Center offers is a great mentorship program. And we really want to help that program out if it needs any, and just build off that and make it even better than it already is. It's a great program as it is, and having support for that program is going to be awesome. And something that first pops into my head as far as this question is just general affordability of WSU. It's something that's been in question the last few years. Tuition went up 16% for 4 years straight a few years ago, and that's something we really want to combat with our presence in Olympia. We have a great Director of Legislative Affairs right now who's put in some great programs, but we really want to expand upon the Coug Day at the Capitol program. We want to get more people out there, and not only expand upon it, is we want to have training and development for the students going over while still here in Pullman. So when they're going over to Olympia, they're extremely educated on all the issues, and they can have a candid conversation with those legislators and really represent WSU to the best of their ability.
Yeah, and when I first heard this question and thinking about how students aren't even able to just go to college first, I mean, you can talk about affordability and accessibility when you're in college, but preventing them from going to college in the first place, I think about conferences. I came here through the VIBES program, and that is a program for African American students in high school, and they bring them here to WSU and get them excited and stoked about higher education, and make sure that they have the resources and scholarships that are available here at WSU. So with these conferences, VIBES, Shaping, Cash, making sure that we support them, making sure that we fund them, and helping what we already have. We already have these conferences, and making sure that the students in Washington State are aware of it.
Something that goes along with those conferences, it's not, it's one thing to fund them and it's one thing to show up and volunteer for security, but it's another to be actively engaged and be team leaders or be workshop presenters and interact with those students by yourself and get a chance to tell your story and to hear their stories as well, because that's part of the most meaningful parts of those conferences is those one-on-one interactions with people. And so the more that you just dive in and get involved with those conferences, and you not only meet the students that are thinking about going to college and you get to talk to them, but you also get to meet your peers and your student leaders on campus as well.
And again, you actually utilizing our student leaders in that capacity to provide, minority students or students who don't necessarily know if they're going to pursue higher education is crucial, because as a student leader, it should be first and foremost, reaching out and trying to gain or try to add to the diversity that Washington State University already has.
Yeah, having a presence at these conferences is extremely important, but we also want to be a part of planning these conferences. We want to help out wherever we can along the way. We also want to get involved in these workshops and as team leaders. But really just giving all of our effort to these conferences is extremely important. And funding actually is a problem in these conferences. They're constantly wanting more funding, because the more funding means the more students that they can get here to Washington State University, and the more students that they can show that higher education is a real possibility in their lives. So we really want to work with the Office of Student Affairs and Enrollment, who actually funds a great deal, about half of the total amount of these programs. We want to work with them to increase that funding, because we want to show them that these programs are extremely meaningful to students and extremely meaningful in showing them that higher education is a possibility.
Thank you, guys. So this is our last question. It's a student question from one of you guys in the audience, and this is directed to Jared and Lakeisha. Female sports on campus tend to not receive as much support from the student body. How can we increase support for our Lady Cougs, as well as overall pride in Cougar athletics?
Definitely. I play on the rugby team, as I mentioned before, and it's kind of sometimes disappointing when you don't have that team or crowd there supporting you, especially when you're a national champion or you're undefeated. And so something that we can do is combine Zoo Crew and ASWSU. So that's making sure that Zoo Crew goes to our club sports, our women's sports, giving them incentives to really be there and make a presence.
Yeah, really bringing Zoo Crew under the scope of ASWSU, really as our student fan section, I think is extremely important. It gives them more resources being part of athletics and ASWSU, and we can really work to get them out to all of these events. We also really want to provide support for our club sports on campus. A lot of the time, these sports are doing a ton of their own fundraising for going to their games, or if you make a national championship like our women's rugby team did. A lot of that funding comes straight from their efforts. And so we want to help them out and help them out with that fundraising and even maybe contribute funds to make this happen, as well as support them in any of their games and any of that.
So being the director of campus outreach this year, I got the opportunity to work with athletics and build a really good relationship with them from an ASWSU standpoint. And this is actually a conversation that I've had a couple of times with a couple different people in athletics. And so back in October, when we realized that student spirit was really lacking in just about every area, we started that conversation about Zoo Crew being an ASWSU committee. And we're actually in the process right now. We're in the second drafting phase. We're working out logistics, figuring out the final research. But for the most part, this is a project that I've been working on since October, and the conversation keeps continuing about how are we going to get people excited about all sports, not just football and basketball. And that's really something that comes with just students being excited about other students. And a lot of that comes from Zoo Crew being a student-ran committee. And so being a part of these discussions this year, getting a lot of good feedback from the athletics standpoint is what's really going to help Sean and I in our administrative efforts to up that school spirit a little bit more.
And we talk about this whole, advocacy for different organizations and different, organizations on campus, but we forget to recognize that these students aren't just athletes, they're student athletes first and foremost. So working with our advising and working with, working with the Zoo Crew first and foremost to kind of come back and give our students that support group, because they're all members of the WSU community. I watch football games, and I feel like a lot of the time we're treating our student athletes as just athletes that are collegiately competing for us and representing us every day, but coming back down to that level and understanding that they're students and providing for them first and foremost.
Yeah, I think both tickets agree that we really need to have more spirit and more people out at these events and really support all of our student athletes with equal support. And one thing I think is extremely important is just really getting the word out there about when their games are, especially for our club sports. A lot of the time it's word of mouth, and that's something ASWSU can really help with. We have a good social media network, and using that to help support these different programs, I think is a great step in just getting people out to those games, is just knowing about when they are.
So something that Sean and I want to reintroduce that happened a couple years ago was called Cougar Pride Days. And it's basically a week, it's like a spirit week. You all had them in high school. It's pretty similar to that. Every day there's a new event, new exciting things happening, new groups that we're reaching out to. And one of the things that we're going to incorporate into our Cougar Pride Days for the first semester is that recruitment for Zoo Crew, but also just letting people know of all the athletic events that are going on and all the different sports and different ways that you can support all student athletes, not just football or not just women's soccer in the fall.
Cool, thank you.
Thank you.
So those are all the questions we have. Marissa and Sean, we'll start with you. You guys prepared your closing statement.
Well, first and foremost, the notions of Cougs helping Cougs can develop and benefit this already phenomenal climate so that all members of this great community can follow and maintain this experience during and after their time at WSU. Marissa and I are the best candidates purely because passion prescribes purpose, and our administration will reflect such in our everyday lives we share with all of the Cougars as we look to represent all that have past, present, and future that have had the honor of being able to call themselves a Cougar.
And one of the cool things about Sean and I is that we started this journey back in the fall. We started planning for these things in the fall because we're not only coworkers, but we're good friends. And we happen to be the only ticket that talks about the Greek community more than once in our platform, the only ticket that talks about residence halls and people living on campus in our platform. And that says volumes about our openness and our awareness of all the students in the WSU community. And in addition to that openness and that awareness, we're also bringing to the table dedication, we're bringing passion, we're bringing personability, and we're bringing advocacy. And that's why our ticket is the one to pick, pretty much. So that's why you guys should vote for us, because we're not doing it for just us, we're doing it for the Cougs.
Yeah, you know, when I first, Jared and Lakeisha. When I first think of what a student government is especially at a college and university, it's really to bridge that gap between the students and the administration. It's to have that voice in what happens at our university. And that's something Lakeisha and I really have. Our experience working in every facet of the university gives us that professional maturity and experience to really be able to effectively communicate our voice as students to our administration. And I think that's extremely important. Like we've already touched on, Lakeisha and I have an extremely proactive platform. You know, we know these things and we're gonna go out and do them. Everything in our platform, we really believe is extremely feasible for us to accomplish. We didn't put a single thing in our platform that we don't think is possible. And so if you look at our platform, everything in there, if you elect us, by the time we're done, you'll know that we worked our very hardest to make every single thing in that happen. You know, WSU really is our passion. We love being Cougs, and I can't really explain it. And I think the Bill Walden quote says it best. You know, WSU is a passion. I don't know for word, but you know, unless you went there, you don't really know how to explain it to outsiders. And that's really how we feel. You know, we're doing this because we care so greatly about our student body, and we want to represent them the best that we can and the best that we know how. And we feel like our platform, our experience, and our general work ethic really sets us apart from the other ticket.
Yeah, it really does set us apart. What makes us unique is that we're already striving to do what we said on our platform. That's something that, through our experience and our passion, that we can really acknowledge for all the students. So a lot of things on our platform, when it comes to next year, we're already talking to our administrators. We already have the relationships with the different student groups, and I think that really sets us apart from the other ticket.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
So one more time, Marissa Hice and Sean Santomassimo. And Jared Powell and Lakeisha Farmer. Thank you, you four. Thank you very much for being here.
Go Cougs.
Go Cougs. Go Cougs. Go Cougs. So before we leave, I know a lot of Greek students in the room tonight. I know those service hours you guys are desperately needing. Before you go, you can check out, you swipe your courier card in the back. But I want to thank Cable 8 for putting this on.
Cable 8.
Go Cougs.